Rolling. Rolling and the sound is speeding. Hi, welcome to This Week Drew. This is for Thursday. What is it? I never remember. Oh, June 18th. Whoa! June 18th, 2020. Shine on today's episode. We got, what's going on? And the motherfucking freestyle intro. Big Drew floating around on his cloud. He's got a sound. Big mound, almond joys and mounds. Why is this not zooming in on my fucking face? Because I'm ugly. Courtney said it's because I'm ugly. I think it's just because That's such a sick micro burn. Well, you're the one who's fucking with me, so that's on you. I don't got to look at my face every day, just in the morning. Just when I comb my eyebrows for 3 hours in the morning. Okay, so I forgot to mention off the show yesterday that the sponsor of the show is kingtutscannabis.com. So you can use the promo code Drew. My buddy who might not want to be mentioned actually just used the promo code and he got some edibles and he said he loved them. And he forgot that he ate them and went out for a walk. And halfway through the walk, he started realizing that nature was within him. And it was, in fact, the edibles that were within him, telling him that he is a part of nature and we are all just stardust in the universe experiencing itself. So give them a shot, man. KingTutsCannabis.com. Use the promo code Drew. Get 10% off your order. And if it's your first time, you get 15%. Stack that promo code. Get 25% off your bud. KingTutsCannabis.com. Smoke like an Egyptian. Yeah. Smoke like an Egyptian. Yeah, I've been on this. I do the boogadoo. Okay, anyways, what's going on? How was my week? Let's go fucking how was my week? I wonder if that's real loud for Terry. That one's he's probably like, fucking stop. That's hurting my ears. Dogs hear shit, bro. I swear, like, dogs and babies and cats can, like, see and hear shit that, like, we're not, like, able to see. I saw this video of this baby, and it was just giggling, and it was, like, kept looking over, like, someone was, like, patting its back and, like, being like, oh, you're a good little baby, and, like, going, like, num, 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 num. And then, but the baby, the great-grandma, or the grandma, whatever, died, like, 2 months before the baby was born. But apparently the grandma used to do that with all the grandkids. She would come up behind and go, num, 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 num. And then the baby would go, oh. And then the baby was fucking doing the thing. And she kept looking back like someone was doing it to her, the little baby. And it was the great grandma. It was the spirit of the grandma. And I swear to God, this was a 47-second Instagram video. And at the end of it, I was like, angels are real. They're in the outfield. Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. That just popped into my head, too. That was another show in the 90s. Anyways, fucking Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. Dr. Woman, Medicine Quinn. So I don't know. Apparently that happened to me though when I was a baby. When I was a kid, we had one of those like play sets, you know, with the it was like a swing set, you know, with the two triangles and then the bar across the top with the two swings underneath. And apparently I was like 2 years old and I came in. I was playing on the swings and I came in and I was like, oh, Grandpa was just pushing me on the swings, and it was my dad's grandpa who apparently taught me how to walk. Well, I mean, you don't teach a guy to walk. You're just there when they do it first, I think. Or maybe, I don't know. Do you teach a kid how to walk? I don't know. I guess you got to teach them, but it's like, you more like help them out. I think it's like the natural inclination, unless you have a like physical like limitation. I think it's the natural inclination for all humans to start walking. Anyways, that's besides the fucking point. I went back into the house or whatever. I guess I was playing unsupervised as a 2-year-old in the backyard. And I told my mom that Grandpa was pushing me on the swings, but my dad's grandpa had died, a couple months or prior to that. But I said that he floated down from heaven and came and pushed me on the swings and then floated back up into heaven. And I was like 2. And I don't know, maybe that was just this young tiny sapling of my imagination. and whatever, and I just fucking dreamed it up, or maybe my great grandpa came down from heaven and fucking and gave me a little push on the swings. Lord in heaven, Jesus, Christian heaven. Wouldn't that be crazy if you died and like Christian heaven was the real one? You'd be like, what? Fuck. And they'd be like, we told you, we sent Jesus down there like 2,000 years ago. Nobody told you. And it's like, yeah, they wrote a book about it. But then everyone was like, nah. Or people who did believe in it took it too fucking far. I don't know. That would just be crazy though if you die and then immediately like you look at your body and like you're wearing like a gown and like you have a halo. You'd be like, what? And then you start with your little wings and you start floating up to heaven, and then you're like waiting in line and there's actually like St. Peter there with a big giant book and he's like asking you about your life. And I would just be like, bro, I've been preparing for this. And I'd be like, I'm sorry. I would instantly be like, I'm terribly sorry. I strayed from my Christian ways. Or what if you just get sent immediately to hell? That would be fucking scary. Is if they're like, nah, bro, like you had the chance. And then they're just like, blue. And then you fall into hell. That'd be crazy, man. I always imagine like when you're falling into hell, like there's this song by Black Sabbath called Children of the Grave. And it's just like, it's like a 3-note riff, but the riff is like, boom, boing, boom, and it's just fucking like it's I don't know, man. And then Ozzy Osbourne is like, oh God, help me, no. And the vocal track, yo, I'm gonna actually pull that up right now. Fuck copyright infringement. YouTube, you can suck my YouTube. I don't think they look for videos with under 20 views. I think we're probably fine. Children of the Grave. Okay, yeah, here it is. And then oh no, is this a song I'm thinking of? Oh no, I'm not. What's the song that I'm thinking of? Fuck, it's not Children of the Grave. Me, you're gonna die. With one, what the fuck is the name of this? I can't believe people listen to this podcast. Actually, people don't listen to this podcast. What is that song called? Fucking, not The Wizard, obviously. Oh man, telling me you're gonna die. Bum bum wow. Am I just mixing up other songs? No. Oh, no. Fuck. I gotta start listening to Black Sabbath again, though, man. That is a fucking good band. Okay, not Masters of Reality. I know that one. Volume 4. No. I'm just gonna listen to every fucking Black Sabbath song until I find it now. What the fuck song is that? No. Fuck. Oh my God. If you guys know what the fuck Black Sabbath song I'm talking about, telling me you're gonna die. Bow wow bow now now. Bow bow now now. Bow wow bow now now. What the fuck? Okay, whatever. Moving on from Black Sabbath and going to hell. Or that'd be cool if like some other religion you knew about was right, like Hinduism or whatever, and there's like all those fucking 8 armed dudes and they're like, yo, you're cool, man. I'm pretty sure a part of Hinduism is like, even if you're not Hindu, like you're cool. I'm just going to go with that. I have no education on that. That's what Buddhism is like, though. Buddhism is fucking crazy. I took an Eastern religions class in university. And like, if you, at its core, like to be really good at Buddhism, like you can't give a fuck about nothing, man. Like it extends beyond nihilism to the point where you don't even care about like eating, or you don't even care about like taking a shit, or like anything. You like truly no longer care about anything to the point where you just transcend fucking reality and you achieve nirvana is that. And it takes like, there's different sort of Buddhists too. There's like Mahayana Buddhists and like something else, something of the tea Buddhism. But it's like that cycle of samsara is what it's called, I think. And it like repeats itself over and over again until you're like worthy. In some cycles you may like, you know, depending on the karma that you are able to like build up for yourself in your first life, you may come back as an ant and have to chip your way back. But then in doing so, like you can totally but karma is a thing where it's like you can even remove yourself from karma. And then it's like just transcending just everything, like literally just not giving a fuck, like so hard. Honestly, the closest the closest thing to Buddhism that I've ever fucking flirted with was grindcore. Grindcore is the ultimate level of not giving a fuck about anything, because there's no like it's just so the antithesis of anything you would hear on the radio, or just really there's no like proper like song formatting. Like there's like, you know, there's rarely any verses or choruses. There's no any really tangible lyrics that you can hold on to. There's no melodies. For the most part, it's just the sheer beat and the force of just like, and it's more of like an expression of like of emotion than it is a musical form. And the emotion is I just don't give a fuck about anything. Like it's like, then fuck you. That's what I love about grindcore is it's like, well, clearly you won't like this. It's like, well, fuck you anyways. Like, you know, it's a really good way to sort out, because if you can find another person who likes grindcore, you're like, fucking hey. Like there's like something that like it's like how weed used to be back in the day. Because weed back in the day, you used to be like, if you found someone who was also a stoner, you'd be like, yo, you're my buddy. Like, because you were criminals. There was this secret like underworld that you had to exist in just to fucking smoke dope. And everyone, like most people were like, you know, it's just regular everyday people. Now look at who's waiting in line at the weed stores. But that was like a cool, like all stoners were friends. Not only because like smoking weed makes you chill, but because you're like, oh, yo, you're like a criminal. You're like, who's your guy? Like, whoa. But now you're just like, now people are like, what percentage THC in the terpene profile? Oh, yeah, really? Okay. And how long has it been cured for? Okay. And what strain? Is this a dominant? Is this an indica or sativa dominant? Is this a high? Oh, okay. That's nice. And what's the volumetric discount that's available for me? That's great. And you're like, buddy, back in the day, there was just one type of weed, and it was called weed, and it came in a fucking little plastic bag with a flaming 8 balls on it. That's my favorite. My buddy Charles Haycock has a joke about that. He's like talking about fucking something along the lines of like you could get rid of the drug supply if you just get rid of the people that made the little tiny plastic bags or something like that. Like you got to nip them at the source. If there's no little tiny plastic bags, there could be no drugs. Oh yeah, I was going to do like a CUSTY maybe or something. Oh, I wanted to do CUSTY of the week because this fucking, that CUSTY ass cop that was crying her eyes out about waiting for a fucking McMuffin. It's like... Her sentiment, okay, so I was trying to place myself in her shoes, and the way that, okay, so here's how it is that in order for this to make sense, I'm like, okay, you know me, fuck the police forever, but I was like, I would like to be an empathetic person on this and just try to put myself in her shoes and see where she's coming from. Okay, but in order to do that, I realize you have to be so wildly self-involved and narcissistic to even get to that conclusion, because here she is sitting in her car waiting for McMuffin, and she's waiting, and she's waiting, and she's waiting, and we're talking minutes and minutes, and then they tell me to drive up, so I drive up, and I'm waiting, and all that's happening to you is that you're fucking waiting for your McMuffin. And the climate that's going on right now, so what you're percolating now is the climate of that people are not happy with the police, generally the way that policing is. And so what you have to do now is conflate your own fucking personal experiences. Like she's mixing all this shit from outside of people hating the cops with thinking that like now she can't go to McDonald's without them because they hate me and they don't know how much of a service I'm providing. But it's like, this is what we're fucking talking about. You provide a fucking service to the community that is far. You're like, when's the last time I had a thank you? I haven't slept in days. It's like, yeah, that's what we're fucking talking about. You're making the same point. You are not a person who your workload is clearly far too much for you to handle because you're breaking down in a fucking McDonald's parking lot because you had to wait 15 minutes for a goddamn Aid McMuffin and you worked yourself up to the point where you thought they had poisoned it or fucking fucked with it. That was the only conclusion that you could come to. Because you haven't slept in days. And that's what we're fucking talking about. Fuck you and your fucking job. You don't, the police as we know it, don't you, and patrolling around and fucking, like today, for instance, I don't know if you saw my Instagram. Look at my Instagram story, my Instagram. There was some lady, there was a fucking delivery guy parked in the bike lane, that just where the bike lane starts on Adelaide Street where I live. And it's a one-way street. And mind you, it's COVID. It's fucking 11 o'clock in the morning. There's no traffic, okay? So this lady comes and sees that this dude's like in the bike lane, but you could still get into the bike lane or just move to the side of the car. There's nobody. And she pulls over her. She's like, you have to move. I'm calling the fucking cops. I'm calling the cops. And the guy's like, go the fuck ahead. Like, call the fucking cops. I love the way this guy handled it. He's like, go the fuck ahead. Like, what the fuck? Like, you're going to call the cops? And it's like, that's another thing that we need to change is that a woman on her bike is minorly inconvenienced by a delivery guy who is going to be there. He was there for fucking 2 minutes. The altercation with her took longer than the fucking delivery. And she's like, I'm going to call the cop. Like, she literally in her mind is like, this is a police matter. This is something, this man should be held to the fucking raked over the coals, and the cops need to come and issue you a fucking citation or take you away. Even better, take you the fuck away. And that's not the case, man. This is how society works, man. You want something, it comes on a fucking truck, okay? We need to allow for these sort of minor fluctuations in the society contract, okay? Yeah, he's not supposed to park in the fucking bike lane. But also, do you get shit delivered to your house? Do you go shopping to places? Where the fuck do you think that stuff comes from? It gets delivered to that place. So why don't you have a little sympathy for because you're in the fucking chain too. You don't exist outside this chain, man. So she's just freaking out. She pulls out her iPad and she's like, and she takes a fucking picture of his license plate. And now what? Now she's going to go to the cops and be like, I got a picture of a dude parked in a bike lane. Here's his license plate. And now the cops are going to go, okay, well, right on. Like, now we got one more fucking thing to do. It's like they should be dealing with like major crimes and dealing with the fucking fringe outliers of society, man. And the people that actually need to be like locked away, and the murderers and the fucking people committing high level crimes and all that fucking shit, man. Like, there's no reason for them to be, because some guy's in the bike lane. That's not a fucking appropriate use of police resources, man. But the people think that it is. And super self-entitled, and sure enough, it was a fucking white lady who think that the police are like a fucking some sort of like a hit squad for you. That you're just like, well, I'm calling the fucking cops on you. Like that racist lady that I talked about last time is like, this is a message from our government. They personally feel that they have this fucking entitlement. So custody of the week, fuck that cop. Honestly, like, fuck that cop. Like, look around. And it's just like, why don't you ask yourself a question? You're crying right now. Why don't you ask yourself the question is like, if you were standing there when that dude was kneeling on Floyd's neck, would you have body checked that cop to get off of him? Would you have asked him to do it, or would you have stood there because blue blood runs thick and you would have just let it gone down? You fucking tell yourself that, because it looks like the reaction was that you still believe that there's this fucking two-tier system, that there's fucking cops and everybody the fuck else. All right, fuck. 20 minutes, eh? Whoa, I'm getting better at this. John.